Good morning and welcome to For Fantasy's Sake, the Quad City's first and only fantasy football show. We are brought to you, as always, by Mobile Party Experience, the premier tailgating experience in the Quad Cities. I am your host, Dude Dougie Green. He is Chris Cross, Make You Want to Jump Steel. And he is DJ, I'm Not Cool Enough to Have a Song, Jarvis.
We could just go with that song from Space Jam because I do live in the Quad Cities and my name is DJ, the Quad City DJs.
Wow.
Just
Slam
saying.
and welcome to the jam. And DJ is a ram. I don't know. I
haven't seen the new Space Jam because I don't need to watch LeBron's Walmart ripoff of the original.
It's actually not bad. I enjoyed it, but then again, I am a LeBron fan, so. But I did enjoy it. It wasn't bad. I mean,
why don't you want to go see a movie that's just going to be a commercial for Warner Brothers and being all like, "Hey, Warner Brothers has some cool stuff. How about that?"
There were some. Did you see it, Chris?
No, I've seen enough to know what it is.
There were some scenes like that stick to what you say that I did thoroughly enjoy. I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody who does want to watch it and hasn't seen it yet, but I did thoroughly enjoy some of the Easter eggs in the movie.
Yeah, it's less of Easter eggs and it's more of, hey, buy some Warner Brothers stuff, everybody.
The certain retail store with the red and white logo that my wife loves to spend all of our money at, they actually have Space Jam Halloween costumes. So
nice.
I was going to call them Halloween outfits, but I guaranteed to get roasted for calling them Halloween outfits for the rest of my life.
Just when your outfit, DJ.
Like when I asked how you get into the building we work in.
How do you get in the building we work in? Doors. It's always doors, DJ.
If you're going in through the window, there's generally a problem.
Doug, off the top of the thing, let's let our viewers know that your dog is very loud. But at the quarter of the hour, 10:15, we'll be joined by our new quote-unquote DFS expert. So out with the pretty Nate, in with the new guy. So that should be fun.
Does the new guy have a name?
His name's Brian.
Brian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes, Brian will be joining us in the next segment. It will be lovely. Can't be any worse than the usual show in the middle.
I look forward to Brian's song.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And we're off the rails 4 minutes. Well, we started off the rails talking about Space Jam.
About Space Jam.
Yeah. There are no rails on this show. So with that, nice transition, by the way. What was your biggest letdown in week one? Besides the fact that I can't get my camera position correct.
Not personal. I mean, unless you count Zeke for me personally, but you have to feel like not only as, fantasy football people, but as fantasy football managers, a lot of people, Aaron Rodgers, you didn't know what was going to happen with him. And then he basically should have just actually retired after week one, but he laid a dud. Almost the Packers were almost as bad as my alma mater against Doug's alma mater on Friday night. And the Saints didn't beat the Packers 63-0, but it seemed like it was close.
Do you think there was some give up in the Packers, like the players around Aaron Rodgers, to just be all like, screw this guy? When things start to go wrong, do you think there was some give up in there?
There was a meme going around Facebook this week of Rodgers like looking angry on the sideline or looking happy on the sideline. I apologize. And then the quote bubble of Devontae Adams is, "Aaron, we're getting our butts kicked." And Rodgers goes, "No, y'all are getting your butts kicked."
Yeah, I saw that too, and it's not wrong. It seems like when this team loses a game, my first thought was, well, they wouldn't have lost that game if they still had Clay Matthews and Charles Woodson, according to Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And it's just like those guys have been retired for years. And he wanted Randall Cobb back when Randall Cobb left the Packers and did essentially nothing, but he has to have Randall Cobb back.
Doug's really mad right now because we jumped the shot sheet right off the bat.
Oh, okay.
I'm
My
just
week
disappointed.
My week one biggest disappointment was Kyle Pitts. And I know I've been telling people to fade Kyle Pitts a little bit because it takes tight ends a while. And you shouldn't expect a whole lot from this Atlanta offense because they are going to be terrible. But he got targeted 8 times and only had 4 catches for, I don't even remember. It might have been like in the 30s for yards. So it wasn't the outing everyone wanted from Kyle Pitts. Could he turn that around? Maybe. The targets are there to do it. But that inefficiency just shows you it's not Kyle Pitts probably. It's more of the Atlanta offense just not being able to get him the ball.
Yeah, I think another guy you could throw in as kind of a disappointing week one effort, and I realize Pittsburgh's defense is very good, but Josh Allen, he kind of, I think that as Josh Allen, managers were kind of looking for him this year to kind of take that next step and maybe challenge, if not unseat Mahomes as the QB1. And he kind of, to be that, you kind of have to have those games. Can't have those games where you just come up and disappear. And he did that.
Yeah.
In week one. What?
English much?
Nah.
It was trouble, and I watched a lot of that game. I think the Steelers are just better than people think they are, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
I would agree.
Yeah. The other big disappointment that I had was Julio. Julio must be down by the schoolyard because he was not on the football field. It was a bad one for Julio Jones. He looks out of place. He looks old. He looks rusty. Needs to get it together and be the guy we all know he can be. It just might be that A.J. Brown is just better at this point, and he's going to get that lion's share of the targets.
I realized
that
that
Titans offense did not look good. That whole thing was bad.
Yeah.
I realized that Vrabel is that guy who doesn't pull punches and everything like that. But especially with Julio, who's kind of known to just kind of take time off, to immediately after his first game there to throw him under the bus openly kind of made me kind of be like, I don't know if I want to do that.
And for me, biggest letdown in week one was the Browns unable to hold that lead against Kansas City. Really wanted to see them pull that out. They had that thing in control for a good chunk there, and then just Kansas City remembered they were Kansas City there.
One of Doug's favorite activities on Sundays when the Chiefs are losing is to text my wife. How mad's DJ? Is there harmony still in your house? Is DJ mad? Has he thrown anything? I was actually super calm during this game because
that's what she said.
While it never seemed like a game, for a while it didn't seem like a game that they were probably going to win. I never really got that sinking feeling that, man, the Chiefs are going to lose this game. This sucks. I never really felt that because they have that dude. The Chiefs have that guy that I think that you guys have, as Bears fans, recognize with Rodgers. You never really feel like for this longest time that the Packers were out of games. And I feel like that with the Chiefs. I feel like never is there a point where the game's over.
Yeah, that Nicole Hardman guy's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a real killer. The thing is that you have seen that from your team. They were down 24-0, and they came back and they won like 56-24 or something ridiculous like that in a playoff game. So you know that the Chiefs team has that ability, especially when that like clenching moment starts to happen. And the Browns just feel like everything is starting to like sink in and it's coming down to that clutch time. And the Browns are going to Browns because it's about being there. It's about being the team that's not going to make stupid mistakes. Kansas City's not going to make the stupid mistakes. The stupid team is going to find a way to beat itself.
True.
And Chris, you did jokingly mention this last week about how the game was going exactly how you projected it to go. And kind of, because the Browns did seem like they were in control of that game. And then all of a sudden they started doing things started not going their way. The fumbles and then the punter forgetting, what his job is during the game. So the Chiefs kind of got
from all the sweat that was pouring into his hands, apparently.
But like, you were saying the Browns' chance to win is if things get away from the Chiefs, and that's kind of how the Chiefs. But I mean, good teams take advantage of that stuff, and that I think that's what we saw there.
Absolutely.
All right, pivoting off from that, if you had a bad week one, is it too soon to panic yet, depending upon how bad your week one went?
No, because I think there was plenty of really good players, not very good last week. So I don't panic at this point.
I think it comes down to your definition of panic. I wouldn't be like remaking my entire roster, but those guys that I didn't start, the guys that I'm sitting that are on my bench, am I definitely scanning the waiver wire and flipping as many guys as I can to try to like remake the bottom of my roster and see if something goes wrong again this week that I have a better backup plan? Yeah, I'm definitely doing that if I lost week one.
So in my opinion, and we've talked about this quite a bit in the past, I think the bottom of your roster, unless you just got super lucky and drafted
You need to
just
churn.
a ton of guys, you just churn it all the time, and
Yeah.
and you just, even if that you're loading it up with, and you have your fab, and you're loading it up with $1 guys or $0 guys if your league allows that, but the bottom of your bench, in my opinion, is just completely made for that. And also, if this is redraft, you're not carrying 2 kickers, you're not carrying 2 defenses. Hold on, go grab skill position guys, because you never know. Like, I have one league where my bench is like Corey Davis and Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
So those are all guys who I'm now not cutting because, we want to see what they're going to be about, but I'm probably also not starting them at this point.
Yeah.
You can probably cut Corey Davis.
Dude was awesome last
No,
year.
he was fire, Doug.
No, he's still terrible.
I used to be on your train, Doug, but last year he was good. And it hurts me to say that, but he was good last year. And this year he's already off to a good start. I thought new location, he was just going to go back to not existing. I think he's got something figured out.
I don't know if I buy that, but what else?
All right, Doug.
Okay. Yes. And the only place you can panic is at the disco, of course.
Joe Panic at the disco.
Ooh, tell me that's a fantasy baseball team name.
It was one of the many fantasy baseball team names I had in the league I played in with Doug, where I'd like change my fantasy team name like every week just to piss people off.
As you should. All right, that'll take us to the end of our first segment. On the other side of this, we will talk to Brian, who will take us through all the DFS knowledge that you need for this weekend. DJ, let it up.
What do football fanatics in the Quad Cities love more than Sunday football? Tailgating and partying before, during, and after their favorite college football games. And Mobile Party Experience has the hookup for all your tailgating needs. Mobile Party Experience offers solutions for all types of party throwers and goers. They have towable trailers that offer music, TVs, gaming, private bathrooms with running water, flushable toilets, beverage dispensers, coolers, grills, and utensils, tables, chairs, and tents. They have all the amenities you could want or need to host a tailgate, party, or event. Find them at their website, my-mpx.com, or on Facebook at Mobile Party Experience. Sundays is still the best day at Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill. While your favorite jamokes aren't on the deck talking fantasy football, they're still one of the best places in the Quad Cities for your football viewing pleasures. Their back deck is ready to go for football season. They've got a brand new 70-inch TV back there where you can enjoy the Bears, Packers, or any of your favorite out-of-market teams. If outside isn't your thing, you can head into the remodeled inside bar area and watch NFL Sunday Ticket on their numerous screens that play their adult video games. And I hear they have the loosest slots in the Quad Cities. That's Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill, 1228 30th Street in Rock Island, the non-bubble home for fantasy's sake. Football season is just underway, and if you spend Sundays watching football anywhere but Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, you've been doing it wrong. Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street in Davenport, is the best place to catch all of your favorite games, and there's still time to make it part of your Sunday routine. Start your meal off with their famous McGuire original nachos or bready nuggets, then ask about one of their original QC-style pies. Or be your own quarterback and call an audible and create your own. The Vans crew will make sure your play hits pay dirt every time. Vans Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street in Davenport. Come get served.
You need to slow it down, DJ. You fire through that thing.
I'm nervous, Chris.
I know. If you don't read it super fast, then the words are going to run away and you're not going to be able to find them again.
I like how he's always so nervous about messing up the word slots that he messes up the words loosest.
Yes.
How did he say it, Doug?
The loses slots.
The loosest? Don't do the loosest. Do the loosest.
Take all of our money at the loosest slots.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
You can slow down and read it like a person, DJ. It's just a thought.
It'd be really unfortunate if I had a job where I have to talk to people on the phone.
Or you have to read something consistently.
Yeah, it's going to be awful.
Oh, DJ.
All right, let's bring in Brian to save us from this nonsense. Let me add him here. There you go. There he is. Hey, man.
Hey, guys. How are y'all this morning?
Doing great.
Good, Brian.
I was listening to the ads. That was great. I actually started the first time as a host last week. It's not easy, so I get it.
Doug, we just have to make DJ miserable. That's part of our job.
Yeah. Doug hated it so much. Like, we started year one, we had a guy who just loved reading the ads, because when you're on a show with me, there's 90 minutes long and you probably get to talk 5 if you're lucky, because I just talk all the time. Case in point here. Then Doug had to read them last year and hated them. And he's like, hey, why don't you talk more?
You're already been doing most of the talking anyway. Might as well just let you actually have some focus.
But yeah, it's certainly not an easy job to have for sure. So
what questions do we kind of have for Brian now that we're looking at DFS stuff, guys?
Brian, you did a great job. If you guys didn't get a chance, I know one of our big diehard DFS guys commented he loved your article. Is something he loved last year. One of the things I love to look at when setting a lineup are ways I can quote unquote double my points. So what are some of the stacks that you definitely are going after this week?
There's a handful of stacks I really like. Kind of an odd one to start out with. It's kind of least expensive, but it also gives you an opportunity to build elsewhere. Is a Bridgewater stack. You could either go with Tim Patrick or you could go with Hamler, and you could save a ton of money elsewhere. So that's the least expensive end. I really like the Chargers Cowboys opportunity there. You could go with Keenan Allen and Herbert, or on the opposite side, you could go with, if you wanted to, you could go with Cooper. He's sitting at 6,800. A little cheaper, you got Lamb. You can go with Prescott there. So those are a few of my favorite stacks, and always at the very highest end, of course, there's a Murray Hopkins, but that's really pricing up, completely opposite from the Bridgewater stack. So kind of depends. There's several good ones available. It just depends on where you want to build elsewhere.
Are you a guy when you build your stacks where you like to bring it back on the other side?
Absolutely, yeah. I call them comeback players, but in one lineup I've got today, I wasn't able to really go with a comeback player in this particular case, but the perfect example would be the Cowboys Chargers. You can go Mike Williams is sitting at 6,100, so maybe you go with Dak and CD and throw in a Mike Williams. Keenan's sitting right at 7, so it's a little bit more pricey, but I love to do that. And in one lineup, I really hope to build on a Bucks and come back with a Falcons player. But after last week, it's kind of hard to build off of Falcons because everybody loves Ridley, but his price tag's skyrocketed, just like always. So it's tough to build unless you go like a Pitts or something like that.
One of our other guys, Michael Scicoli, he really loves KJ Hamler this week. It feels like he's a boomer bust guy. Is that apt, or is he going to get more touches just because of the injury to Judy?
I think the opportunity is there for more touches, but first thing you keep in mind always is the price tag. I mean, that's kind of the most important thing. He's only sitting at 3,800 right now. And in all fairness, I mean, I try to get 2 to 3 times points. So you're looking anywhere from 7.6 to 10.8 points for the week. I'm willing to take a roll on that. And like you said, he'll get more touches with Judy out, but don't sleep on Noah Fant either. He's actually pretty cheap at 4,200. So
yeah.
We're right in the middle of Iowa Hawkeye country, so a lot of people here listening love your Noah Fant and Hawkinson and that George Kittle guy.
Yeah, the worst thing about Hawkinson this week, I typically try to play the main slate, the 1 p.m. and the 4 p.m. games. Of course, Hawkins is playing Monday night.
Right.
But
yeah, that was one thing that was pretty tough to set a main slate lineup, is because you're thinking no Hawkinson, no Mark Andrews, and no Travis Kelce this week.
Well, exactly. That's the big thing. The only player that you really missed from Thursday night, of course, was McLaurin. But there's so many good players between the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Packers. And even like you said, there's a couple players like Hawkinson in particular. Swift, I wouldn't love Swift necessarily. He was kind of iffy this week, but he's going to play. But it's still, like you said, there's a lot of good players missing. So
The Bears' secondary is absolute trash, but the Bengals have 3 wide receivers that are exceptional. How do you choose between the 3?
I would honestly go with the cheapest price tag. I'm a Higgins fan personally, but I don't have the prices here in front of me between Higgins and Chase. But whoever's cheapest between the two, I would go with.
Any tight ends kind of catching your eye? Because that's one place where I think you can definitely find a guy with a cheap price tag and get some major value.
Well, there's another example with Michael Gallup. You could always go with either Dalton Schultz or Blake Jarman for cheap. And like I said, I really like Fant this week. He would be my go-to. The only player I would recommend staying away from personally is Goddard. The 49ers, like you said, they allowed Hawkinson to eat all day, but I'm thinking that's going to happen pretty often. And I don't expect Goddard to have that kind of game at all. Last year, the 49ers gave up the fewest points to opposing tight ends at under 8 per game. I personally am not. I don't want Goddard. I don't want Ertz. So,
where do you kind of fall when it comes to Kyle Pitts? Because he put up kind of a clunker in week 1. He's probably going to have a price tag just based off of his name, right?
Yeah, he's sitting at 5,400 right now. I'm a wait and see kind of guy.
Right.
Pitt, to be honest, Pitt's got so much attention in the off season that his price tag to me is a little high. I would have to, they really put up. Not only did Pitts put up a clunker, but the whole team put up a clunker. You get beat 32-6. I mean, nobody really played well, even Ridley. So,
are you willing to at tight end this week pay up for Darren Waller? I mean, he saw a ton of targets in that
21.
That Monday night game. It was insane.
In general, I wouldn't mind paying up for a tight end. But in all fairness, I would much rather go for Kittle at 6,400 than paying up for Waller. Pittsburgh's defense is pretty good against tight ends last year, so I love Waller. He's great, but I would rather go cheaper and go Kittle.
This is going to floor the other two guys to hear, but I think there's absolute certainty that Darren Waller, just based on the volume he's going to get, that he finishes this season as the tight end 1. Like, it's just insane, just purely based on volume.
I could see that happening, but as long as Kelsey's healthy, I'm going to have a hard time thinking he's not finishing tight end 1. How many years in a row has he finished tight end 1?
Right,
So,
3. But he's been a tight end 1 for 6 years in a row. I mean, it's insane.
Don't encourage him, Brian. Do not.
Yeah, I'm a huge Chiefs and Kelsey fan. So I mean,
that's okay. Actually, last weekend, all of my wife's family, her aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff live in Kansas. So they live in a small town called Parsons, Kansas. And we were there. We hadn't visited them in 3 years. And we were there. We were actually watching the Chiefs-Browns game with them. So I get the homerism. It's okay.
Are you wearing an Eagles jersey? Is that what we see there?
You are, but I'm actually a Steelers fan. But in all honesty, I've never been a huge jersey guy.
Yeah.
So the only 2 Vanderbilt players that ever really, for like a year, got an opportunity to play was Jordan Matthews, and then also I'm forgetting his name, Zach Stacy, running back for the Rams. So the only 2 jerseys I own is a Matthews and a Stacy, because I wanted to show some Vanderbilt love.
Well, it looks like you're wearing a Hurts jersey. Where are you at on Jalen Hurts right now?
I'm just on that wait and see approach too. I mean, I don't love Hurts, but at the same time, his rushing volume gives you an opportunity. So, for me, I mean, other people are higher on him than I am. But the other thing about it, I graduated from Vanderbilt. My dad got his master's from Oklahoma, so it's kind of
Oh,
hard to
awesome.
not like Hurts. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm a little iffy on his passing ability right now.
Elijah Mitchell and Tyson Williams are two people that I think a lot of owners went out and got this week. Can they be good? Are they just ready for a bust? Because it feels like a bust is coming because of the expectation with both of them.
There's actually going to be a bust for sure on Tyson Williams, only because this morning they came out and said that they didn't commit to anything other than the hot hand. So they've got a hot hand approach. They've got 3 running backs that are going to get carries. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I see him as a bust, but they also came out on Elijah Mitchell and said that he's going to be the dominant running back this week. He'll get the majority of the carries. So I'm okay with Elijah Mitchell. He's sitting at 5,000. I would not want any part at all of Tyson. So.
Well, and Trey Sermon is supposed to be the guy, and then he didn't end up actually being the guy. He's on the active roster now, kind of lingering around. And I think people are going to worry about that. But like you said, they committed to hit Mitchell so far. Why not ride him until you see otherwise?
Exactly. And the other thing that's really interesting to me is, Sermon was declared inactive last week. Mitchell had the game, but the difference in price is actually 5,000 for Mitchell and 4,600 for Sermon. So you only got a difference of 400, which is pretty shocking to me.
Right. So
are you a guy where you like to set most of your lineups very similar, or do you kind of just see what different lineups you can float out there?
I actually set my initial lineup because I do another pod that I actually host. So I set my initial lineup on Friday, but then I tweak it over the weekend based on any news that come out on Saturday. So and I oftentimes set multiple lineups. Like I like to play around with stacks and do that kind of thing. But in general, it's not hard for me to determine my initial lineup. I think the more we tweak, the more we second guess ourselves. So if you can come up with a broad concept of what you'd like to start with, I think that's best. And like you said, I mean, the question about the tight ends, that's kind of where I've started, tight ends and defense, because irregardless, you got to have a couple price plays. And sometimes that's where like this week, they did a really good job. Week 1, they actually allowed the rookie running backs and wide receivers to be basement bottom prices, but they adjusted that this week. So you really have to get back to finding value plays.
Are you what are you doing, at least DFS or general fantasy wise? How are you feeling about Najee Harris?
I'm even though it's a little hard to be, I'm actually on Najee in my primary lineup. In my primary lineup today, he's actually one of my 2 running backs with Chris Carson. So,
do you feel like people are just kind of pumping the brakes because they saw that Steelers offensive line? It's a lot of new guys trying to be in a lot of new positions, and they just didn't look like they had it together this week. Why do you think they're going to get it together this week?
I think the Raiders defense will allow them to get it together. They actually looked pretty good in the second half last week, even though they got a block punt return, helped out quite a bit. They only had 64 yards of total offense in the first half and finished up with 199 in the second half. So if we can multiply that out by 2 and get close to 400 yards, I think everybody will be just fine with it.
Before we lose you here, as a Steelers fan, let's play our favorite game on For Fantasy's Sake. Wheel of Steelers receivers. Pick one.
Oh, my man is Deontay. Like I said, I've only got 2 jerseys. The third one I want is Deontay, and then he's actually in terms of my Twitter profile and banner, it's actually I'm actually in the Scott Fishbowl, and my banner is actually Shania Twain, which is the division I'm in, and there's also a picture of Deontay. So for me, it's not even close. And he's going to get the volume too.
Correct. I'm a big Deontay fan as well.
One last question. I am big on Christian Kirk this week. Do you think there's value there because he's coming off a big week last week? He's the Vikings secondary, which just looks like trash.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think off the top of my head, the Vikings gave the 6th most points to opposing wide receivers last year. I've got, like I just mentioned, the Scott Fishbowl. I've got Kirk in my starting lineup.
Nice.
I've got Murray as one of my quarterbacks. So, that just made a perfect sense to me. So yeah, I like Kirk. And we all know, I mean, I feel like for sure AJ Green is nothing more than a cheaper Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, he's a senior mentor, but he only had 2 catches last week, so he's going away. And not only do I like Kirk, but please don't sleep on Rondell Moore. It's sitting at 4,000.
Yeah.
If you need an inexpensive wide receiver at about the same price tag as Hamler, definitely go with Rondell Moore.
I was just about to ask you about Rondell since you were talking Christian Kirk there. So good deal.
I
Glad to
love
see
them
that
both, but in all honesty, Kirk's at 5,000, Rondell's at 4. So if I needed an inexpensive fill-in, he had 4 catches. Moore had 4 catches for 68 yards last week off the top of my head. So I would definitely feel comfortable going with either one of them. But like I said, if you need cheap, Rondell's out there.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. All righty. Well, that will take us to the end of the segment. Brian, thank you very much. That was great stuff, man.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
Thanks.
Have a nice rest of the day, and hopefully everybody win their games.
Thanks. All righty, Deej. Do the thing.
With 5 locations within the Quad Cities area, Ray's Barbershop has provided first-class service, haircutting, and shaves since 2010. Ray's Barbershop has been voted the Quad Cities' favorite barbershop year after year. Ray's takes tremendous pride in their work and in maintaining the fine art of classic meets modern barbering. Ray's goes above and beyond to make sure our clients' level of satisfaction is met. You won't find the Ray's experience anywhere else. Located in the Belgium neighborhood of 7th Street in Moline, Clinch Draft House Pizza and Grill is home to some of the Quad Cities' best food and drink specials. On Sundays, there's no better place to be. Clinch is serving up 75-cent wings and $4 Bloody Marys all day. And your favorite team playing in those out-of-market games? You'll never miss a second of the action on one of their 10 screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. And after you've had your wing and bloody fix, finish off your football watching experience with one of their famous Quad City style pizzas. And folks, they know pizza. They've been spinning QC style pies for the last 22 years. So make Clint's part of your Sunday football routine. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill, 7th Street in Moline. Who doesn't need a solid handcuff on their fantasy squad? Grab a bite to eat at Clint's Draft House while watching the noon games, and then head on over across the Moline Rock Island border to the Corner Tap for some libations during the 3 o'clock games. Every Sunday is fun day at the Corner with $3 tall boys, Bloody Marys, Jack Daniels, and $2 PBR drafts. Head into the Corner Tap, 4018 14th Avenue, Rock Island, and get into the end zone.
Better, DJ. Better.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one.
Now you just have to read it with as much swag as a Denver quarterback who's not very good.
I don't know that
What does Drew Lock have to do?
I don't know that I can lock down that swag, Chris.
More swag than talent, for sure.
All righty. Let's get on to DJ's nonsensical rankings that never make any damn sense.
By the way, Tyreek wide receiver won last week, so kiss my natural butt.
No.
You have an unnatural butt, too?
No, most people do. Oh, Doug, you screwed it up already.
Hey, look how that
Who
fixed that.
uses Safari?
Doug,
Cool
you
people.
use Safari?
Yes, I do.
In communist Russia, Doug uses Safari.
Preferred.
Wait, that's not how it goes.
No. And I'm old enough to remember when that joke was made. All right. Week 2 quarterback rankings. Murray,
DJ
Mahomes,
didn't pick
Allen,
Patrick Mahomes
Jackson.
number 1. I think that's a
That's
real
news,
shocker.
yeah.
And
Other than Tannehill, I have no problems with this list.
Tannehill lower or higher? Well, obviously lower.
Well, and you've got Josh Allen up pretty high, DJ, after a clunker. You think he's going to have a big comeback game here?
Yeah,
Because Miami's defense isn't that bad.
Yeah, I still think Pittsburgh's probably, when it comes to their defense, I think they're elite defensively. And so I think a lot of teams are going to struggle against Pittsburgh.
All right, moving on to the next.
Oh, I messed up a tab.
You suck.
DJ.
Oh, let's see. Burrow, Cousins, Winston, Mayfield, Bridgewater, Ryan, that guy, Tua, Mac, Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, Tyrod Taylor.
I think we're going to see Winston sneak into that first slide this year. However, I would like to see more volume. He did only complete 14 passes last week. I mean, I know that was the game, the flow of the game, but I think he's going to sneak into that first slide this season.
A lot of those passes were touchdowns, though, too.
I know, 5 of them, 5 of 14. Not good at math, but that's good.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow,
some regression there.
I was very pleased with what I saw from Joe Burrow. I think he's another guy who's going to get in that first slide here pretty quickly, especially going against Chicago's secondary, which we already talked about, not very good. So I think Joe Burrow, if he puts together another good game, might be creeping around into that top 10.
I think one of those big things for one of the big things for Burrow is he just did not look intimidated. He didn't look like he was scared that somebody was going to hit him. Kind of like what we talked about with Dak week 1, where they were confident in the fact, one, for Joe Burrow, that he was going to be protected, but he was getting that ball out quickly and finding Chase a lot. But no, he definitely looked confident. And Minnesota is a team that I think is going to get better defensively, but you didn't know what you were going to see out of them week 1. And Burrow was just out there just slinging it.
You're right, DJ. Last week, too, you said that he might be hunting Chase a little bit, and he was definitely doing that, and it worked out for both of them. Going up against Rashad Breeland, he was the worst cornerback I think I've ever seen. I think they made him an honorary Atlanta Falcon just because of that performance.
What was crazy is he wasn't bad in his 2 previous stops, and so he was decent in Green Bay. He was decent in Kansas City. I mean, down during those stretch runs in the playoffs, he was one of the better defenders who helped them win the Super Bowl and then go to the Super Bowl. And just to see him just not be good at all just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, that's why I was going to ask you for more of a read on him, because he looked awful, and maybe it's like an injury that's undisclosed or something like that, but they don't really have anybody to take his spot in Minnesota, like if they need to change things up. So, I mean, it can only get worse for the Vikings secondary.
I mean, he legitimately got absolutely, like, when
it was over 100 yards.
When Kansas City played Minnesota in the preseason, as they were targeting him when he was on the field.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy during the preseason, especially when you think that there's third stringers on the field at times.
So you think maybe Kansas City was trying to show the league something? Is that kind of what you're saying here?
I think that they schemed him into success.
Okay.
I think that there was a lot of underneath help for him, and I think there was a lot of over the top help. I think that there was a lot of bracket coverage when Breeland was playing elite wide receivers.
Speaking of brackets, get your tabs together, DJ.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Oh, man.
Kamara, McCaffrey, Cook, Eckler, Chubb, Jones, Henry. You feeling good about Henry, even though his last week, and then he's playing Seattle's defense?
Yeah, I think that was an anomaly. I don't think you're going to see a lot of other games where Tennessee's going to get their doors just absolutely beaten off. And what? I know. I realize what I said. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that this season. So,
are you worried about Aaron Jones at all, considering the way that game went? It kind of got off script, so he couldn't be Aaron Jones. But at the same time, you think Green Bay is going to get back to that, right?
Yeah, they're another offense I'm not really overly concerned about.
All right, moving on.
Well, I had a wow, my tabs were just god awful this week. Go back to the previous slide, because I did a little bit of a aggressive wager today on that New Orleans Carolina game. I did a parlay with Kamara and McCaffrey both to have over 50 rushing, 30 receiving, and a touchdown.
I think in order to do that, one of them has to be losing.
Well, considering they're playing each other, the odds are good that one of them.
I know, but I mean, losing by a lot, and I don't think that this game is going to skew really one way or the other.
Okay, that's a fair take.
David Montgomery still with no respect, even though he put up the second most rushing yards last week.
Let's see if Matt Nagy remembers she's on the team. Okay.
Yeah, I know, and you've got Tyson Williams at 24. I was going to ask about him. What do we feel? How do we feel about him going forward?
I mean, he's playing Kansas City, which I think that you're going to want to dial up running backs against Kansas City all year. Even like Chris said, that they're likely to be losing all. Other teams are likely to be losing to the Chiefs and needing to pass, but the Chiefs looked really bad against Chubb and Hunt last week, and there was a lot of passing behind or at the line of scrimmage last week, and so I think as long as they're pass catchers, I'm dialing up running backs this year against the Chiefs.
Doug, you really nailed it. David Montgomery looked like a completely different running back than I think I've ever seen with Chicago in week 1. And I'm changing my opinion on him completely. I think he is a good running back. He didn't have the stutter step at the line of scrimmage that he's had in years past. He's more of a straight line runner. He looked faster than I think I've ever seen him. That's something that blew me away in game 1, that he looked so fast. And to have him come out and have that performance, I think is only going to do good things for him. I don't like him this week because I think the Bengals up front are better than people think. And so because of that, I think that the Bears are going to really struggle to run the ball in this one. They're also really going to struggle to pass the ball because they couldn't even do that in the second half of a game when they're down 20 points and they can't throw passes over the middle or on the outside, or they can't complete a pass anywhere to move the offense down the field in a game where they're allowing you to just pass the ball and run out the clock.
I'm unsure how you feel about that one, Chris.
I'm really excited. I'm excited for the season, Doug.
Look, we got this guy, okay? Once we get him on the field, everything will be great.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm going.
When they're down their 7th left tackle.
Yes. Speaking of that, since we're gonna split up the rankings because we get too deep into these, so we'll have to do the wide receivers and tight ends in the next segment. But since we're going to skip the Bears segment,
there's one
I want
more
to complain about the fact that Khalil Mack hasn't shown up in
There's one more page of running backs, Doug. So
half a season. Let me complain about the guy first, because Chris had his rant, I have mine. Khalil Mack hasn't done diddly squat in I don't even know how many games, and they keep putting up the graphic that he's one of the elite defenders of the NFL, but then you see the stats they put up in the second half, and it's he's got no pressures, no sacks, no tackles. He has 28 pass rush snaps, and I'm where's the production, dude? Yes, I understand that they're probably rolling the protection that way, but still, I need something.
It didn't look
he
like
came out that first game, and he collected the Thanos glove of all the statistics. He hasn't done bupkis since, and I would really like to see him perform a little bit better.
I get that, Doug. Khalil Mack needs to be better because that's what you were banking on to be good. The other problem is that Robert Quinn hasn't been good at all as a Chicago Bear, and you needed him to be the guy to allow Khalil Mack to get the one-on-ones so Khalil Mack could be good again. But then neither of those things happened, and now we're at this standstill where this defense could be a lower third of the league defense. It could be one of the worst in the league.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're and with all the good pieces that they have, it's just really kind of been. It hasn't come together, and it's really kind of frustrating. All right, last 12 before we go to break on DJ's crappy.
Yeah, dude, I warned you that my eyes were really tired when I was doing this, but I didn't think it was that bad.
It's that bad. All right.
I think James White might need a bump here, considering that New England is going to lean on him a lot this year. I think if he has another decent game again this week where he puts up maybe 6-7 points, he might be due for a bump because a lot of these guys are boom or bust right now. But if he goes out and has another solid game, he might deserve to be on the next screen.
Yeah. Mike Davis, what are we feeling about that after that week 1 performance where he didn't look so high?
That offense is just so bad.
I know.
Mike Davis, I think, had maybe his most charmed season he's ever had in the NFL last year, and I don't think it's going to happen again. I mean, Doug and I watched him when he was on the Bears, and he couldn't fall forward when he was on the Bears. I think he might be back to that guy again.
Yeah. All right. So that will take us. Let me stop my share here real quick. That'll take us to the end of this, or the halfway through the segment. We will do wide receivers and tight ends on the other side. Donald, light up.
Bad Boys isn't hard to find. Now serving in 3 different locations: Moline, Davenport, and downtown Davenport at River Music Experience. Their restaurant and bar stays open late, not only on the weekends, but weekdays too. Bad Boys specializes in Quad City style pizza and daily specials, so be sure to keep an eye out for those. They also offer food carryout and pizza delivery options at your convenience. They have a full bar at all 3 locations with 24 taps in Moline, 32 taps in Davenport, and 20 in downtown Davenport. They also host exciting events such as Quad City Storm parties, NFL Sunday ticket giveaways, and other sports viewing parties. Bad Boys always has the coldest beer, and the atmosphere is always welcoming. For great people, drinks, and Quad City style pizza, choose Bad Boys. Durham Modeling has been serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. With nearly 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all your home improvement projects. Durham Modeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715. It's Sunday Fun Day over at Frick's Tap. Iowa's second oldest bar is guaranteed to have your favorite team on one of its 13 TV screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. Get on into Frick's now, where they will be joined by Smoked Out Smokehouse every Sunday. And boy, does that menu look great. Barbecue smoked ribs, pork chops, wings, you name it, you can get it during your football game over at Frick's. So for Frick's steak, head into Frick's, 1402 West 3rd Street, Davenport.
It was good, DJ. It had a nice rhythm to it. It was flowing.
Thanks. You know what? I actually wrote that Frick's ad, and I think that's one of my favorite ads.
See, it's good because you put your own words into it, and then you knew the flow of it.
So we didn't get a chance to talk about this during the quarterback segment, and because he wasn't on the list. But what were your guys' takeaways from Zach Wilson in that first week?
I'm kind of back to where I was. Oh, go ahead, Doug.
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
I'm slandering him.
I'm back to where I was like after the draft when he just looked overwhelmed by like the spotlight of everything. Then I watched him in the preseason and I was like, okay, I can see it. He can make all the throws. I think right now the spotlight is just too much for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to progress into that quarterback that can be very, very good. But right now, I would stay away because I am worried that it's just too much for him.
Right.
And I think that's the only critique I really have of him right now is he's going to try to do too much. That's going to make it even harder for him because at the quarterback position, he doesn't have the help he needs.
Right. Also, I think that we're getting messed up on these graphics because of Safari, Doug, because I'm looking at my Google Chrome slides and they are perfect and all aligned.
He says
Google.
as he tabs them around.
I know. Google,
No,
Google, man.
I know.
All right.
And I swear I'm not moving my tabs
Why are we
around.
revisiting my sophomore year today? Huh?
God, you're old. I was like in kindergarten or something.
Probably.
Anyway. All right. Wide receiver rankings. I want to say something controversial or something shocking to you guys. I think Lockett's too high. I think he had his big week, and I think they'll shift the coverage this week. I don't think he'll have quite the big week that he had last week.
It does shock me. That's almost as shocking as me slandering Travis Kelce. Well, it wasn't slander, but you know.
Well, it's slander for a DJ, that's for sure. DJ just had to hurt himself because he said bad things about Kelce. So he's stabbing a fork into his leg while he does it.
My dad, who can only hear my end of the show when I said, gosh, you're old, knew I was talking about Doug. He said, must be talking about Doug because he's old. My dad, who was born before World War II.
We all talked about how good Pittsburgh's defense is, but was anybody else worried about Stephon Diggs' Week 1 performance? Because I expected him to still be able to do some of the things that he had done last season. It seemed like that connection just wasn't there, and Josh Allen was looking at Cole Beasley an awful lot. Cole Beasley had like probably quadruple the drops that he has to shots. So
Wow.
Yeah, if he could actually maybe if he had some shots, maybe he'd actually could catch something.
To not go all pro vaccine on this show, I think it's really funny that the Buffalo Bills are going to require fans to be vaccinated, but not their players.
Yeah.
I regress.
Okay. Moving on to 13 to 24. Mike Evans, probably too high. And I say that as probably Mike Evans' number 17 fan.
Yeah, you're a Mike Evans apologist, as am I. It's just so hard to know where to rank Mike Evans because when you rank him in those bottom 12, he ends up as wide receiver 2 for the week. When you rank him in the top 12, he ends up catching last Thursday night. He ends up catching 2 balls for like 20 yards. And you're
Put him in the bottom. Then put him in the bottom so that we can get some production out of his ass.
I don't care about Mike Evans.
I think Antonio Brown's probably a little too low here, DJ. I really think he's going to have a huge year after kind of just having to fly under the radar during the last season with Tampa Bay. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year and is probably headed towards being around that top 10 again.
Yeah, I might have been wrong about him. He's looking pretty good.
I like that Cooper Kupp to Matthew Stafford connection too. I think that's going to be a big boost for Cooper Kupp as long as he can stay healthy this year. That he's going to put up probably his best season.
Yeah, I think we're definitely looking at Cooper Kupp being that guy in Los Angeles this year.
Yeah, well, it's a Stafford renaissance this year because he's finally actually got some guys who can actually more than one guy who can catch.
Like we discussed last week, I think there's a potential this guy could be MVP this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm going to steal somebody else's joke here. It was someone on Twitter, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who did it, but it's Cooper Kupp had all like the touchdowns and the yards. Bobby Trees got more like actual targets. So don't look at the Cooper Kupp for the Bobby Trees or something like that, something along those lines.
I saw that joke. You got there terribly.
I know I did. I was really proud of myself, Doug. You have no idea.
All right.
You threw me off because I kept talking over you.
That's okay. Okay, next set, wide receivers here. Jamar Chase, probably too low, especially since he actually looked like Jamar Chase. Remembered how to catch the football, and he's playing that terrible Bears secondary, so I would probably bump him up there. What do we think about Brandon Cooks? Now, he can have those big games like what we saw last week, but he could also be easily taken away because he is kind of their only weapon. So was last week an anomaly, or do we think that he's going to be pretty solid this season?
Yeah, I think the big thing to look at with Brandon Cooks is Pharaoh Brown emerged as a legitimate target there last week. And I think that if he can continue to kind of take away some of that bracket coverage and catch those balls underneath and be a threat, you could see Brandon Cooks have a decent year because they do, whether it's Lindsey or David Johnson in the backfield, they have somebody they can outlet. Then they can have Pharaoh Brown in the middle, and then Brandon Cooks can kind of take the lid off the defense. So I'm willing to wait this one out, and I think Brandon Cooks could end up just having like a legitimate take away that year where he played decoy in Los Angeles. I think he could just legitimate put up a Brandon Cooks year where he finishes in the top 20 to 24 at wide receiver, and you're willing to start him every week.
Yeah, I think he and Tyrod really match up well together. And Tyrod probably had one of his best games in the NFL. When Tyrod was with Buffalo before, he never really had over a 300-yard passing game. His legs would get him over 300 yards because he'd rush a couple times, but he didn't really do it passing wise. And to have him come out like after seemingly being on the shelf forever and put up this kind of game, I'm really impressed. I like a lot of what the Houston Texans offense is right now. I know injuries are going to change the dynamic of that, and they're going to go back to being the Houston Texans here pretty quick. But right now, the makeup of this team, it makes a lot of sense, and I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, where are you at on him, DJ? Because I thought I just can't get over that picture from the preseason where he's wearing his pads for the first time walking onto the field, and he looked like a peewee football player just got like Philadelphia Eagles gear on and managed to get onto the field for some reason, like a Make-A-Wish thing. I just don't know what to think of him because he is talented. I was super excited that he was going to fall in the draft this year, and I wanted to try to get him, but do you think he's a player who's going to put up consistent numbers, or was week one a flash in the pan?
I think I kind of said this a little bit last week, is I think that Devontae Smith is an elite route runner. And I think that doesn't change in the NFL. I mean, it does, but think about like Devontae Adams. That's a guy I look at. Devontae Adams, not uber talented, as far as he's not super fast. He's not, his hands aren't great, but he's just an elite route runner. And I think Devontae Smith can be that. Obviously, he's not linked to Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's going to be a guy who's a very good pro. And I think we could be sitting, doing this show when Doug's 50 in 2023, and we're looking at Devontae Smith as a guy we're putting on that first slide every single week. I think that he's got potential to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league. It just really depends on what his quarterback play is. Doug, will you really be 50 in 2 years?
For the record, the wife will be 50 in 2023, not me.
Oof.
DJ, Doug just got you into trouble.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Doug, it's got to be yours, dude. These slides are perfect on my Google Chrome.
Go back for just 1 second, Doug. I had a thought, and now I forgot. Oh, DJ, Mike Williams. Now you can go to the tight ends. Mike Williams, I think he's a guy who legitimately could be a top 10 wide receiver. It's been health issues that have really bogged him down through the first few years. He has the ability, he has the size and the speed. Do you think this is going to be a breakout year for him?
I want to say yeah, but I also said that last year. And
he tricks you every year. That's my problem with him.
And the thing is, with him, he's got a good quarterback. He's got a alpha receiver opposite of him because Keenan Allen, very good. Doug, we'll address that later. He's got a really good offense around him. The question is, when it comes to Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler spreading the ball around to other tertiary options, not including Mike Williams, is there enough balls to go around to where if he doesn't catch 10 touchdowns that you know what I mean? Or if he doesn't have 2 catches for 80 yards and a score, you know what I mean? That's where you kind of get nervous. Obviously, like, in my opinion, and the reason I do 36 running backs and 36 wide receivers are these are guys that you're probably starting. You're probably, that last slide are flex options. Obviously first slide wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, then flex options. And I think Mike Williams is a guy that you consider in your flex. But as far as a breakout, there's just a lot of question marks there. And I don't think a lot of them are because of him. It's just his opportunity is kind of deep balls, jump balls around the end zone.
Okay. I also want to take a victory lap on Tyler Higbee because I told you that Matthew Stafford really likes his tight ends and he's set up for a good year.
No, I bow down to you on that one, Steele.
Okay.
Yay!
All right, and that's all the tight end talk we have time for today because you guys kept going back to previous slides. I couldn't move you forward. All right, so that'll take us to the end of this segment. On the other side, we will put up the bet segment from Tim, which is a new slide that you guys will see. And then we will talk inactives, which already there have been several big names on there.
I do have those pulled up, Doug, so I'll be ready to go with that.
All right, good job. All right, hit it.
With 5 locations within the Quad Cities area, Ray's Barbershop has provided first-class service, haircutting, and shaves since 2010. Ray's Barbershop has been voted the Quad Cities' favorite barbershop year after year. Ray's takes tremendous pride in their work and in maintaining the fine art of classic meets modern barbering. Ray's goes above and beyond to make sure our clients' level of satisfaction is met. You won't find the Ray's experience anywhere else. Located in the Belgium neighborhood of 7th Street in Moline, Clinch Draft House Pizza and Grill is home to some of the Quad Cities' best food and drink specials. On Sundays, there's no better place to be. Clinch is serving up 75-cent wings and $4 Bloody Marys all day. And your favorite teams playing in those out-of-market games? You'll never miss a second of the action on one of their 10 screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. And after you've had your wing and bloody fix, finish off your football watching experience with one of their famous Quad City style pizzas. And folks, they know pizza. They've been spinning QC style pies for the last 22 years. So make Clint's part of your Sunday football routine. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill, 7th Street in Moline. Who doesn't need a solid handcuff on their fantasy squad? Grab a bite to eat at Clinch Draft House while watching the noon games, and then head on over across the Moline Rock Island border to the Corner Tap for some libations during the 3 o'clock games. Every Sunday is fun day at the corner with $3 tall boys, Bloody Marys, Jack Daniels, and $2 PBR drafts. Head into the Corner Tap, 4018 14th Avenue, Rock Island, and get into the end zone.
I think all of them should just end with "come get served."
It's not a bad idea.
Come get served.
Yeah, DJ, you need to just figure out like a simple little like tagline for all of them that's just like that, so you can punch it the whole way through.
Punch it, Jay.
Get served.
Alrighty, so Patriots Jets.
Hang on, we need to let's do the betting first before we do
The betting first.
before we do the inactives.
First,
Tim worked hard on this.
Obviously, like Doug said, this is a new segment. You can see this on our site each week. Tim does a little of analysis. He was really bad last week, so we hope he's going to be better for you guys.
I was going to say that his record technically doesn't matter, but if you want to throw him under the bus like that,
DJ just coming out throwing haymakers at a guy.
Haymakers. So Panthers +4, getting 4 points against the Saints. Eagles getting 3.5 against the Niners. Steelers giving up 5 against the Raiders, and his lock of the week is the Cowboys and the Chargers to reach the 55-point mark. His lock of the week last week was the Packers giving up 3 against the Saints. That worked really well for him.
Hey.
Love you, Tim.
A lot of people didn't see that coming, though.
No, I know.
Yeah, that week one's always a dart throw. You because you don't quite know what they've had. So.
Well, the thing about Matt LaFleur is he's 1-5 now in games that are played in Florida. I don't get it.
He's spending too much time at the beach. That's what it's got to be.
Son of a beach.
Son of a beach. Son of a deej.
I have a daughter.
All right. Anything else we want to say about the betting lines? Because I am not a betting person, so I
No,
not.
like I said, I have a decent parlay. Probably will not win because I'm bad at betting, but I'll read you my parlay for this week.
You read it earlier.
No, that was. Oh man, I have so many bets out there. So for me, my parlay is Bears giving up 2. Buffalo money line against the Dolphins. The line I got for Pittsburgh is 6.5, so I'm giving up 6.5 against the Raiders. Rams money line against the Colts, and the Chiefs giving up 3.5.
It might be my Bears colored glasses telling me this, but I think the Bears have a dead cat bounce this week just because it's the home opener and they haven't had fans in a year. That maybe they get a little bit of boost off of that, and they just barely squeak one out when they get absolutely trashed on defense, and it's
I
going
was,
to be
I was
like a
going to
weird
joke that they
shootout.
only lose by 17 this week, then.
So the Bears kick 20 field goals, and then they just barely manage to beat the Bengals, who score a bunch of touchdowns.
That's fair. I can buy that.
So that you don't think they'll cover -2, Chris?
Yeah.
Here's the question: will they go to overtime like Minnesota did last week? I just have this feeling like Cincinnati's going to open the season with
every
three
game
straight
being overtime.
3 straight overtime games, and like the Bears are going to get caught up in it somehow.
Well, yeah, if they open the season with 3 straight,
three of 4 or something like that,
and the Bears are on their schedule, that seems like good math.
Down.
That's going to happen.
Yes, but you know what But do you know what I mean? Like
Nah.
every year, there's always a team that always has
Skin of their
like
teeth
some
winners.
Yeah, that are like that end up playing like a bunch of overtime games like early while they're like trying to figure things out. And the Bears just seem to always be the team that steps on that landmine.
That's fair.
I don't think the Bears can. This is going to go against what I just said. I don't think the Bears score enough points to force an overtime game or have the ability to have a 2-minute drive where they can score a touchdown.
What about an overtime or a game to kick a game tying field goal?
Well, they can probably get in field goal range because they can't score touchdowns, so I guess that's all they can do. Oh, wait, Doug. I take it back. They will try to go down to kick a field goal that'll tie the game, but then Matt Nagy's going to go for it on 4th and 15.
And throw and call a play that goes for 8 yards.
For 10 yards.
Hey, at least he's still
one of only 2 passes they threw over 10 yards.
All right.
At least he's still going to be ahead of LaFleur, who they'll be down 17 or 21-17, 21-17, and he'll kick the field goal.
With 3 minutes left and no timeouts, you're saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Hold 1 second.
I thought you said you were prepared for the inactive.
Well, no, I know I am, but I have a special person watching at home. Hi, Harper.
Aw.
All right, Patriots, Jets. Down for the Patriots, Trent Brown, Kyle Vanoy, Ramondre Stevenson, Sean Wade, Devin Asasi, and Ronnie Perkins. I'm not going to read all these, so just fantasy relevant. The Jets are without both wide receivers, Denzel Mims and Jamison Crowder.
And Mims is a healthy scratch.
Yeah, and running backs Josh Adams and LaMichael P. Ryan. The Broncos, no fantasy relevant inactives.
Except for Judy's out because of the injury.
Except for Judy's out because that was known before right this instant. Jags, tight end Jacob Hollister would really be the only significant one there. Dolphins, Will Fuller, personal issues. He's back from being suspended, but now has personal issues apparently. Don't we all? And tight end Hunter Long, not going to make his debut today. Niners and Eagles, Gardner Minshew still inactive.
Still trying to take that number 2.
Yeah. Rams and Colts.
Aren't we all?
Rams, no significance other than Moline grad Brad Hopkins' son, Bryson Hopkins. For the Colts, no Paris Campbell, no Xavier Rhodes. The Raiders, though, Doug didn't mention this during my segment, but Josh Jacobs is inactive. He was ruled inactive last night, so Kenyon Drake, bump him up your rankings here, and I think he's an interesting flex option there.
I was going to, but we didn't have time.
Steelers, Haskins, their third quarterback. Bengals, Bears, no Foles, no Perryman, no Eddie Goldman.
Eddie Goldman's going to have to play one of these days.
Texans, Browns, again, no Anthony Miller. Brevin Jordan, not going to make his debut today. For the Browns, no OBJ. There could be jokes about OBJ and Deshaun Watson being inactive in the same game. There's a joke there.
Is there?
For the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore inactive again. Panthers, nothing really of fantasy significance. Jai Smith, healthy and active. That's it for the noon games. I can't think off the top of my head any really big questionable guys in the last games. I'm happy that Tyrann Mathieu will be back potentially for the Chiefs today, but I can't really think of anybody I saw with the queue this week for Vikings, Cardinals, Falcons, Bucks, Titans, Seahawks, Cowboys, Chargers, or Chiefs, Ravens.
DeMarcus Lawrence has a busted foot.
DeMarcus Lawrence, yeah. And Everson Griffin got into a car accident trying not to hit a deer. So he's
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's got a concussion and won't play.
That's the most like Minnesota injury I've ever heard.
Isn't it?
On a couple levels.
So since we didn't get to it during the tight end segment, Jordan, you probably were a little late. And I know you were a little late because you did not comment when Chris and Doug were talking about Khalil Mack by saying, who ain't got no Khalil Mack? It's an inside joke, guys. But you missed. I was saying that I think Waller, during the DFS segment, I think Waller may finish this year as tight end 1 based on the value. I just think that if he's going to get 15, 20 targets every game, he almost just has to finish his tight end 1. I realize Kelsey plays in the better offense with the better quarterback, but if a guy's out there getting the ball thrown to him 20 times, the law of averages say that he's going to fare pretty well during the season.
Well, we also have to take a look at usage and compare that to the likelihood that there's going to be an injury at some point there too, because that happened with Christian McCaffrey last year. Everybody was, as they should be, excited that they got Christian McCaffrey. But you look back at the previous years and the usage that he had, there were no major injuries in there. So that injury was coming. It's just a spin of the wheel as to when it's coming. I'm not saying like fade Waller because of it. What?
Don't you say that? I actually like Darren Waller.
I do too, but it's just one of those things. Tight ends get beat up. Tight ends are going to get taken down around their knees, and that's where the injuries happen. Doug's adjusting his lineup.
I'm so confused by the graphic I saw on. No, I'm confused by the graphic I just saw on the ESPN's fantasy show where they show that Devontae Adams had 16 end zone targets last year, but 18 touchdowns. And I'm still trying to figure out how that math works.
Well, you can score deep touchdowns. You don't have
out of the red zone
within the 20 to score a touchdown.
Well, I know, but still, the way the graphic was structured,
I get it.
Was
it's also nice of DJ to be sharing like some like inside jokes with one person when we do a show for many people. Jordan
and I met up a couple years ago for the Chiefs Seahawks game. The Vikings needed the Seahawks to lose to stay in wild card contention, and the Chiefs ended up losing that game. But it was right after the Bears won a game. It was like Christmas Eve 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And
the Bears won a game.
Huh?
A game. Just a game.
And there was a drunk Bears fan screaming, "Who ain't got no Khalil Mack?" for like an hour straight, and it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. With that brilliance, that'll take us to the end of this segment. On the other side of that, we will take your questions, get those in, since DJ's already lost some. And then we will take the rapid fire, and then we will do the rapid fires, and we will wrap this up, and then we'll go watch the Miserables. I don't know where I'm going with that.
You'll be less miserable than you believe, Doug.
I've got some ribs and some pulled pork to make for Sunday night. So
DJ wants us to come over, everybody.
No, that wasn't
I got the invite.
I heard it.
Chris, if you're lucky, you will receive leftovers for lunch tomorrow.
Yay!
Chris is automatically going to gain weight based on the fact that I keep bringing him food to work.
Yeah, I only eat almonds and cheese when you don't bring me food, DJ.
Bad Boys Pizza isn't hard to find. Now serving in 3 different locations: Moline, Davenport, and downtown Davenport, right at River Music Experience. Their restaurant. What? The restaurant and bar stays open late, not only on the weekends, but weekdays too. Bad Boy specializes in Quad City style pizza and daily specials, so be sure to keep your eye out for those. They also offer food carryout and pizza delivery options at your convenience. They have a full bar at 3 locations with 24 taps in Moline, 32 taps in Davenport, 20 in downtown Davenport. They also host exciting events such as Quad City Storm parties, NFL Sunday ticket giveaways, and other sports viewing parties. Bad Boys always has the coldest beer, and the atmosphere is always welcoming. For great people, drinks, and Quad City style pizza, choose Bad Boys. We are no longer a PG show, but we're still saying frick it for fantasy's sake. Frick's Tap, that is. If Davenport side is more your style for your football watching pleasure, head into Frick's Tap, 1402 West 3rd Street, where they have 20 beers on tap. Beer isn't your scene? That's okay. They have $3 you call it's during all of the Sunday football games. Frick's has NFL Sunday ticket on all of their 13 screens, so don't fret if your team's playing on the West Coast this week. So for Frick's sake, head into Frick's Tap today.
Remind me after the show to tell you about the storm idea I just had.
All right. But is it good enough to tell Andrew?
He is a vital piece of this.
Okay. Let's storm right into the questions, Doug.
Little storm warning.
Hey. So, Cousin Bo wants to know, Cousins or Mayfield?
Kirk.
What?
I'm thinking Baker.
Yeah, I would take Mayfield on that one.
You said cousin too many times for Chris.
No, I thought Doug said Cook, and I was like, what?
Connor Cook.
Yes, I think Dalvin Cook will have more TD passes than Kirk Cousins.
I believe it.
Jordan, what do you think about that? Continue.
All right, TD heavy league. Pick 2 wide receivers: Diggs, Deontay, Debo, or LaVisca.
First 2.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, same. All right, and for the running back side of that, Carson, Damian Harris, Deontay, Visca, Tyson Williams, Elijah Mitchell.
Assuming this is the same league, and I've already told you to start Deontay, Carson, and Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I'll take Elijah Mitchell for sure, and Carson makes sense.
Carson, I'll roll the dice with Tyson Williams this week. I want to see what he can do. All right, Jake Scudbomb Scudder. Remember that? Speaking of inside jokes from a million years ago.
Not as good as a wand bomb.
Anyway, pick a flex. Hollywood Brown or Damian Harris. I think Hollywood Brown is actually hurt, so I'm going to go Damian Harris.
Oh, is he hurt?
I think I saw that.
If Hollywood Brown is hurt, then Damian Harris. But Hollywood Brown would be my answer.
Yeah, I would say the same.
I don't think the Chiefs can cover some guy down the field, as the case with Nelson Aguilar last year.
Or any Vegas Raiders wide receiver, it seemed like last year. Nelson. Well, wait, no, it wasn't Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, Nelson Aguilar and Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, Henry Ruggs, yeah.
Pick a flex. Edmonds, Robbie A, Visca, or Pascal.
Hollywood Brown was, by the way, a DNP on Wednesday and Thursday. So there is a chance he is questionable with an ankle injury. So that is worth looking out for. What time do the Pats play today? Are they a nooner? They're nooner. So start Damian Harris there.
Yeah.
Edmonds, Robbie A, Visca, or Pascal? Answer the question.
Robbie A.
Hey, yeah, I'll go with that.
Do you even know what you're answering, Chris? You're just saying.
I don't. You didn't send me the questions this week. So I'm like, yeah, sounds good. I'll go with Visca then.
All right. Pick a flex. Gaskin, Boyd, Ruggs, James White.
James White.
Gaskin.
Or Boyd. All
right. Pick a flex. Brandon Cooks or Hollywood Brown. We've already discussed that. So Cooks is your play there.
Cooking.
All right. Terrence Grimmett wants to know Visca or Tyson Williams.
Tyson Williams.
You'd have to get goal line carries, and we might see other guys in that situation.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this guy.
Yeah, I think so.
How do we feel? Just real quick, how do we feel about long-haired boy, Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, how do we feel about how he played last week?
I don't know that you can really have too many takeaways because his coach is an idiot, and he's immensely talented, and he's going to be very good. I don't think he's good right now.
First regular season loss in his life. That's crazy.
Well, he's lost like 4 games in his entire life.
Yeah, but they were all playoff games. None of them were an actual regular season game.
Well, I mean, even like going back to high school too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I'm just trying to figure out. I don't think Dabo Sweeney's that good of a coach either. So just a take there.
Singletary or Javonte Williams this week?
That sounds like a Doug question.
If it doesn't have a name to it, it's probably a Doug question.
Javonte Williams is fine with me. Oh, hey, Doug, how about Javonte Williams is for sure going to have more touches or more snaps than Melvin Ingram, and they literally right down the middle, 50-50.
Like I said, for sure. Chris, what do you think on Singletary?
I'll go with Singletary. His numbers only looked good last week because he had one long run, but he's going to get probably a bunch of touches again. How's Moss doing?
Yeah, that's my question. Is I didn't see anything about Zach Moss. So
Moss, I think, is playing this week. So,
well, maybe he's not 100% yet. Maybe they just skew it a little more. Singletary. Yeah, I just want to see what that dynamic's going to be like when they're both like ready to go.
All right, all the Jordan questions. Here we go. Tyson or James Conner?
Williams.
Yeah, I think Williams there.
I still like Conner.
All right, Juju or Sutton?
Sutton.
Juju.
Chris,
Williams.
Do you hate Cortland Sutton?
I think he just hates you.
I don't. He's never impressed me at any point. I think he's good, but there's nothing about him that makes me go, wow, I want him on my team.
Chris said, so what, you're Brad Pitt?
Well, we did have the Shania reference with Brian earlier.
We did.
Mike Williams or Chase?
Chase. Got to go against those Bears.
Yep. And pick one for flex: Juju, Moore, Sutton, or Mike Williams.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, I go with that. That makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Wow, we actually agreed on something.
Mike Williams, then.
Write this day on your calendar. All right, here we go. Rapid fires. Wheel of Steelers, wide receivers, go. Juju this week.
Deontay.
More rushing yards. Jalen Hurts and Mike Sanders or Trace Sermon and Elijah Mitchell?
Check your Y's, boy.
What the hell does that mean?
It says Miles Sanders. You said Mike.
No, he said Miles.
I'll check my ears, boy.
Running for Miles.
Your tabs are still off.
I'll say Sermon and Mitchell just based on the fact that they're both running backs.
I would say Hurts and Sanders. All right. More touches, Lindsey, Johnson and Ingram, or Chubb and Hunt?
Chubb and Hunt.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me the Browns. Kareem Hunt has played Houston twice. Both games he has had 100-plus yards. Week 2, top scoring quarterback.
Kyler.
I don't want to. It's probably going to be Kyler, but I feel like we want to throw off here. We'll go with Joe Burrow.
Damn it.
Just doing the Mr.
Fine, I'll take Aaron Rodgers and I'll hate myself.
You think Rodgers? Yeah, I think that's a really good play, Doug, because the last time he put up a clunker was when he came back and he threw 5 touchdowns the next week. So,
all right, more passing attempts: Bridgewater or Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence. I think they'll be losing.
Yeah,
that's not a tough bet to make, DJ.
More total yards: Kamara or CMC? Total yards.
Just as long as they get my bet in, I don't care. Kamara,
because at least Carolina has other players who can touch the ball and be good.
Juwan Johnson season, man.
I'll go CMC just to be contradictory there. More passing yards: Stafford or Wentz? That is Stafford all day.
Yeah.
Week 2, top scoring running back.
Kamara.
I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook because he has to show up after last week's fiasco.
I will say Kareem Hunt. Just playing off my stat from earlier. Roll Tide, Jalen Waddle, over under 47.5 receiving yards. That's an over.
Yeah, I'll go over.
All right.
Under.
Rookie Fever, more total yards, Mac Jones or Zach Wilson?
Mac. Return of the Mac. Doug remembers that song too.
Return of the Zach
Wow.
Wilson.
Give me Mac Jones there. Most receiving yards in Cincy, Chicago. Give me. I don't know.
Mooney.
They won't let him run over 10 yards, DJ. He can't be the top receiver.
Chris, I loved that thing in our Slack this week where somebody said that Dalton's pass pattern really literally spelled out lose.
Yes, I saw that.
Did Chris didn't answer?
Oh, it's going to be T. Higgins.
I'll take Boyd. Oh, where was I? All right, Wheel of Buccaneers wide receivers. Give me AB.
Evans.
I'll go with Brown.
More catches, DeAndre Hopkins or Justin Jefferson? Say Jefferson has more catches. Nuke does more with them.
Yeah, I'll say Nuck.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. They're going to be behind probably.
More rushing yards, Tannehill or Russell Wilson? Tanny.
Russell Wilson.
We'll go Russell Wilson.
All right. Top scoring wide receiver.
Adams.
Nuke.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know. Justin Jefferson. Let's go. I don't know. I'm skewing Vikings, and they're bad.
Yeah. Most receiving yards in Dallas Chargers.
Keenan Allen. CeeDee Lamb.
No, are you sticking with Keenan Allen? Because I want CeeDee Lamb.
Because I wanted CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, that's my final answer.
Why don't we all go CeeDee Lamb?
Okay.
DJ will hedge his bet over there.
Yeah. More fantasy points, Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews?
I learned this week that they've been terrible against each other. Kelsey's never had a 100-yard game against Baltimore, and in like 3 career games, Mark Andrews has like 67 yards total against the Chiefs, which blows my mind.
Is the Honey Badger playing this week, DJ?
He is.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll go Kelce.
Yeah, Fred, I'm going to have to go Kelce too. Top scoring tight end this week then?
I feel like it has to be Waller.
Yeah,
even though they're playing Pittsburgh, but man, that 21 targets.
Josh Jacobs is out. You could see more than 20.
Do they have a modern day record for targets in a game? Because
it might happen.
Might happen. Yeah, fine.
We'll have to have our producers research that for this week.
That's me, Chris.
I know, DJ. That's what I'm saying.
All right. You done messed up AA, Ron. Over under 300 yards for Rodgers. I'll take the over.
Yeah, over.
I'm going to go under, but he'll put up a bunch of touchdowns and we won't care about it.
All right. Okay, I put in this one. So, best chance to match their jersey numbers in touchdowns. Fields with 1 or Zach Wilson with 2?
Aaron Rodgers with 12.
We're sticking to rookies.
Way to go.
Zach Wilson. Trey Sermon.
Wait. Do we get rushing touchdowns, Doug, or is this specifically passing?
Just let's go total touchdowns.
Oh.
All right. Then I'll take Fields.
Yeah, that feels like a better bet.
Yeah. A lot better bet.
Is this merely match? Like you can't go over, you have to guess it perfectly, or you fall off the cliff?
No, it's just. Does Justin Fields in limited time have a better chance of recording a touchdown versus Zach Wilson playing the whole game recording 2?
Rappaport said he was going to play more this week, and the Bears are very impressed with him. So they're building up to when they're just going to force him onto the field in like week 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah. Who wins more games in October? The Cubs, 3 against the Cardinals, or Bears, 5 total games?
I hope the Cubs win 0, so Bears.
Yeah, I'm with that. The Yeah.
The Cubs will win more games than the Bears because it's baseball. And baseball's dumb. And every single time you think you know who's going to win, they lose. So good luck, DJ, to your Cardinals in playing a 100-win Dodgers team. That's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, that's a boat race.
They actually just split a 4-game series, so it's all right. I'm not.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
I'm hoping the Dodgers pass the Giants and the Cardinals can play the Giants. So
I don't think that's happening.
They won 5-6 against. So.
Yeah. And DJ's heart survival, no.
Yeah, I don't think my heart will survive a Cardinals pennant race during football season.
But you don't get to die because if Chris is leaving the show for baby and moving reasons, I'm not doing this crap by myself.
The Dodgers are only 2 games back of San Francisco. So, I mean, it could
I guess
happen.
you're right. It's not as much as it feels like it is, but it's baseball still. So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Weird crap happens. All right. So that will do it for this week. We want to thank our title sponsor, Mobile Party Experience, as always, for being along the ride. And
we want to thank everybody for watching this week.
Yeah.
We would really appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy Sunday to watch our show and to listen to us talk about Space Jam for maybe 5 minutes there.
Yeah, always great there. All right. So he is Chris. Damn it. He is Chris. He is DJ. I don't even know who the hell I am anymore. I just show up. All right. So we will see you all. Yeah, we will see y'all Wednesday night for short yardage.
Don't forget about Michael Nick football tomorrow night.
Oh yes, and MNF tomorrow for Michael and Nick for their show. So until then, we will see y'all next time.